you didn't realise this, but I was just about to give up on life at 1 a.m. last night, and I posted on their feed,
Whoa.
and I said, "We think the world of you!" Exclamation mark. That was it. It's just 4 words. And she just reposted this thing, just saying, "You won't believe this, but I was just 10 minutes before praying, God, give me a sign that would mean that I'm supposed to be here."
And what a testimony, I mean, from what God can use you in your...
In your weakness. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Can you just introduce yourself, who you are?
My name is Lindz. I'm the frontman to a band called LZ7. And we kind of fuse like live music, live band, alongside, I guess, kind of the heaviest beats that we can to create a sound that's like a wall of sound.
Yeah.
And we take the life-changing message of Jesus to young people through music.
Wow,
that's
great.
the point of it. That's the only reason we do
I
it.
was yesterday at your performance and I could really feel the wall of sound because after a while I was jumping around. Luckily we don't have any images of this.
Yeah, good.
Because it was
no,
good
post it
with
now.
the break.
Post it onto the stream now. Put an image of your guy jumping up and down.
It was really fun. I couldn't resist. It was really good. The drum and bass, the techno, everything was well done. So, and what is then you talk about dance, faith. Sometimes we would say do this to connect together. So what is the vision there of LZ7?
I mean, the Bible says go and make disciples of all nations. Yeah. So like you come to Jesus on Sundays and then your midweeks and you do all the kind of church stuff, and then the Great Commission is to go. And we just decided that we worked out that music has got this universal way of cutting through language, barriers, race, where you're from, anything that's holding you back. Music just seems to kind of blanket the whole thing. So even last night, where you've got a few hundred in the field at first, and they're like, "What am I waiting for? What's going to happen?" And then suddenly the first drop, and then suddenly everybody starts running into the field. And it just brings freedom, and I think that's what Christ came to set the captives free, right? So, when you couple the platform with the purpose, and the platform is the music, with the purpose of the gospel, and music is that universal language that will cut through everything. You've got this powerful, potent thing. Yeah. And we did a seminar this morning. We're talking about stories. So all of our songs are stories of a journey, stories of a topic, stuff we've been through. And it makes it kind of relatable to young people to say, actually, your story's not negative. It's not negated. Wow. It's there. Tell your story. So we tell our stories through the songs. Yeah. Lead young people to a point where they want to know Jesus. And at the same time, there's a point to your life. Like once you know it, now go and change the world. Now go and be the person that passes it on to someone else. And we're doing it through music, but you could do it through skateboarding or football or social media or whichever, whatever. So
basically use it as a platform. You bring great dance music to the people. Yeah. And then through that message you can give a message of hope. Actually, you should see to come to do you know our festival here in Belgium, Tomorrowland?
I do know Tomorrowland,
You should come there because there it's only about the music, but there is something deeper you bring, right?
Book me on Tomorrowland, man. Talk to one of your friends on here.
So if the organizers of Tomorrowland are watching us, book these guys. It's going to be a huge party, definitely, for sure.
Come on.
So back about faith. So you believe in Jesus Christ, but what does it personally mean for yourself?
I think when we do a lot of high schools, so we go into lots of high schools, so we get lots of questions. Lots of young people will say, "Isn't being a Christian weak? Is it a crutch? Is it like it just sounds like 101 ways to make my life more boring?" And I'm there going, well, if you walk out of here with your head a little bit higher, feeling a little bit freer, because you understand that someone's paid a price for stuff that you do that you feel guilty for, that you are heavy laden by words that people have said and stuff that you've done, because Jesus died on the cross and he set you free. That's not a crutch. That's not something to kind of like walk with a limp. It's like that's something that sets you free to run faster and go harder and squeeze the juice out of life. And I think, when hope has a name, his name's Jesus. When you couple hope with faith, you've got this potent force that helps you through life. But it's not like, oh, he's helping me because I'm weak. Yeah. No, he's not. He said, you're strong. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. He's not talking about being weak. He's talking about like squeeze the juice out of life. Like, be the best you can be. Like, if you're in a job where, you know, you're doing, I don't know, marketing, or you're doing music, or you're doing, you know, you're a teacher, be the best teacher. Like, do it because Jesus is with you for the journey. He's backing you. So I think in the face of everything that's going on with, particularly with young people, you know, social media and the kind of way that young people feel like they need to conform, we're kind of saying, yeah, of course, like, there's trends, there's stuff that's out there, but at the same time, just know who you are and whose you are. You know, who you are, you're a child of God. So whose you are, you're God's child. So walk in that. That's strong.
So when you're in these high schools and you've got these young people coming to you, what kind of questions do they ask to you?
Literally, bro, I was sat backstage a second ago going through our Instagram comments and responses, and someone just sent us a message just saying, you didn't realise this, but I was just about to give up on life at 1 a.m. last night. And I posted on their feed. Whoa. And I said, "We think the world of you!" Exclamation mark. That was it. It's just 4 words. And she just reposted this thing just saying, "You won't believe this, but I was just 10 minutes before praying, God, give me a sign that would mean that I'm supposed to be here." So I'm a massive advocate for Jesus went to the cross and took a death so you never have to give up. Yep. You know, he took slashes on his back so that you never have to cut. He took all the abuse, verbal abuse, and just said, "You know what? I forgive you." And that's the Jesus way, isn't it? You know, I forgive you. I heap burning coals on you, and whatever happens, I'm going to take the better roads because. And he proved who he said he was when he rose again. And you're just like, well, let's just be like Jesus. So when you're talking to young people and you're saying everything, all the topics we're talking about, everything we're talking about in the language of our tracks and the kind of sentiment behind the tracks is to be like Jesus, because he wasn't weak. You know, he told stories and he had 12 mates. 12 mates with no internet changed the world. What could you do with your 12 mates? Like, imagine your youth group. You could transform your city, your town. Indeed. So it's more, you know, a lot of it is leading people to Jesus, but it's also when we come to a festival like this, is inspiring them to go and be the part of the change in their world. And I think that music is that platform, and that message is the purpose.
Yeah, here in Belgium, when you say you believe in God, so a lot of people are like, oh, there are still people believing in God. Yeah. So what kind of a message would you have to these people?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in some scary situations where everybody's default has gone back to God. So, you know, I'm with like 200 year 10s in a room, and I can't say, "Yo, God, walk in the room and go, yo, what's up? Like, hey man, what's going on?" I can't. And that's the faith bit. But the faith bit is believing that this chair was here when I sit down, you know. Is it there now? It's there. So I'm practicing faith all the time. So if someone says, "Oh, I don't believe stuff, I'm an agnostic, I'm an atheist," I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure, man, because you just believe that the chair was there. So you used faith. You exercise that all the time. So when people are kind of like, nah, I'm not sure, I think the Holy Spirit is going to do in 2 seconds what we're going to do in 20 years. So we can do as much as we can putting on these festivals and doing the gigs and all that kind of stuff. When the Holy Spirit moves, it's like, bam, he's going to change. He's going to change things. And I think we just need to be open vessels to go, look, God, use me. In whatever manner you find me, you know, just use me to speak into someone's world, to fist pump a kid, to, you know, lead them to Jesus in whichever manner that is. Yeah. And I think when young people are, I don't want to tell people I'm a Christian. When I was in school, I remember someone coming up to me and they'd seen me at church, and they looked at me and they went, "I never thought you'd be a Christian." And I was like, "Oh, what a compliment. Yeah, well, that's amazing. I never thought I'd be a Christian because I'm so cool." And then I realised, oh my gosh, that's not a compliment at all. That's me not even like representing my church life, my Christian faith in any way, shape or form, because I'm just fitting in. Mm-hmm. I think standing out is the new fitting in. So standing out and going against the crowd and being against the, you know, not against it as in a negative preachy way, but just standing up and being the kid that's kind in school, that shines Jesus. Being the kid that doesn't bully kids, being the kid that doesn't drop F-bombs every time something goes wrong, being the kid that maybe says, do you know what, I'm not going to sleep with that girl because da-da-da. And the thing for me in school was, the one thing that stood out was I wasn't sleeping around with girls. And I remember all of my mates at 16, 17, that became a massive thing. And their quest in school was to try and get me with a girl. That was my mate's quest, and I just wasn't doing it. I wouldn't have it. And in some way, that was my little way of shining.
Yes.
Everything else I was doing wrong. Like I was, going out partying, enjoying life, and getting involved. But if there's one thing that you can hold on to, that you just go, that's my faith, that's my thing now. Fast forward to where I am now, and I go and see my friends, and they always remember. They said, "You never slept with anyone. You didn't sleep around with girls when we were at school." And I was like, "Nah. It was the one thing I didn't want to lose it." And I think if there's an inspired word for someone out there that's listening or watching and just going, "What can I do?" I'm like, listen, you're going to get it wrong. Everybody falls short. That's what it says in the Bible. Everybody falls short of the glory of God. We are going to mess it up left, right, and centre. But just remember, that's why Jesus went to the cross. Yeah. Wow. Every time. And he said those 3 words, "It is finished." That means it's done. It's finished. When you wake up in the morning, you say, "God, I messed up last night, and I'm so sorry. I turn my back on that." Your slate is wiped clean. That's not weakness. That's giving you strength to get through the next day because you know that you're walking in freedom. Remember that every single day. So when you do mess it up and you're finding it tough and you're finding it, come back to the cross. Come back to Jesus and just go, "Mate, please jump in.
God, yeah.
Jump in and help me."
Love the passion there that you are talking about. Hey, yesterday on your performance, you shared kind of 2 testimonies as well. One from your mother, who was at the Billy Graham conference, apparently in Brussels. You know that Franklin Graham is coming here 28th of September, here in Belgium. So can you, for the ones who were not at the concert, for our viewers, can you just quickly say this testimony from your mother and what happened?
So my mum grew up in a really tough background. So split parents. When she was 18 months old, her dad left. She used to stand outside her dad's house to wait for her to see him. She was looking for this acceptance. Mm-hmm. She never saw him. She used to, back in the day, she'd have to find it in a phone book. She'd find out where he lived and she'd go and stand outside. She was desperate to meet her dad. The next time she met her dad was at his funeral. So he died of an overdose of something or other. She walks in and there's 5 guys that look like her sons, me, and my 3 brothers. And she walks over and she's like, "Why do I recognise you?" And they said, and my mum's called Jen. Yeah. They said, "Jen, we're the younger brothers you never met." They're in their 50s. She said, your dad had 5 other with another lady. She'd never met them, and she was just like baffled by it. So at 18 months old, he leaves. Her mum blamed her for pretty much the breakup. She was left in the middle. She was the only child left at home. Her 3 brothers and sisters, when they lived with uncles and aunties, moved out of home. My mum was stuck there with 3 younger siblings. And if she didn't do the cooking and the cleaning and the 8 years of age and washing up and make sure they were fed, she'd get locked in a overnight in a cupboard and told that she was like worthless, shouldn't have been here. So imagine being 8. She walks into school, year 7, finding acceptance left, right, and centre, trying to fit in, trying to find her way. She goes out and she turned up to a Billy Graham event in England, and she walked in at the back because she heard the music. And she stood at the back and listened to the preach. And the preach was over and over and over speaking to her. Loads of people in the room, but she felt like he was directly speaking to her. And she responded to the gospel. Wow. Takes herself back to church, starts going for 6 months. And my dad, is a 6'5" cop in England. And her family, her brothers and her older sisters were all part of a massive gang. So my dad actually arrested her older brother and put him in jail. So she's not allowed to go out with this guy. Like family-wise, she's not allowed to associate with cops. 6 months in, he takes a liking to her and says, "Jen, do you want to go out on a date?" So they start dating, and it's all underground. It's all mum and dad don't know. He's from quite a posh family. She's from a very broken family. She's quick with her mouth, and she used to smoke cigarettes, right? And that was her biggest thing. And when she became a Christian, her mouth started to change, but she couldn't put down cigarettes. She gets married, and imagine the wedding. Like one side is full of this cop family, the other side is full of this like old school Irish gang family, and they're looking at each other going, "I'll have you after this."
Like
do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like a movie. But she got to 28 years of age, and my dad was really kind of, he wasn't, what's the word? He was just passionate about Jesus. Yep. And at 28, she fell pregnant. She fell pregnant with me. And she put out her last cigarette and said, I'm never touching this ever again. Because God's changed my destiny. I'm going to change the destiny of my son. So when she got to 29, my dad left the police and said to my mum, she was a social worker, we're going to move to Brussels to work for Billy Graham. Wow. I was 1 week old. So I moved to Grand Place, and the office was on Grand Place, and we had a flat in Grand Place. So from 0 to 2, I lived in Brussels. The first time I went back to visit was on the last gig at the Awakening to go and see it. And I've got 2 vivid memories, one the staircase and 2 Grand Place. And I walked in and I was like, wow. I actually remember, just that one little photographic thing. I remember it, but it's amazing the way that she got saved through Billy Graham and his ministry, and then goes back and works for Billy Graham. And then now I'm doing similar stuff. So this is what I say to young people, is when you respond to the gospel, you don't just change your life. The legacy that leaves changes the next generation. You know, the next generation to be born, the next generation coming up. That knock-on effect changes the world. So what would you say to people when Franklin Graham, his son, comes here to Brussels? Yeah. What would you say to people to go there? Invite someone, take someone down, go and have a listen, bring them in. The music will be great. The talk will be amazing, and then they'll have a party at the end. It will be incredible. Yeah, we're so lucky that he comes over. Now, the second thing that I want to say, you mentioned as well the drummer of your band. Yeah. I was there. I mean, he was playing drum and bass. Drum and bass is so fast, and it was so slick. And then you told a story to the audience. Can you tell it to our viewers how your drummer is? Yeah, his name's Leon, and he's actually the musical director for London Community Gospel Choir. Oh. So his dad set up London Community Gospel Choir. And when Leon was 18 months old, he was always walking around the drum kit. He was always like at the drum kit. But bit by bit, his parents were like, something's not right. He's not hearing things. Like you'd say, Leon, and he couldn't hear it. So they took him to the doctors, 18 months old. They said, your son, and they said, oh, he's mad passionate about drumming. And they said, your son's probably never going to drum. They said, why? And they said, because he's lost 80% of his hearing. So he can hear the top 10%, and he can hear the bottom 10%, but everything in between he can't hear. So when we're talking now, we have to literally go, Leon, Leon, for him to understand. But he your lips, with your lips, yeah. So he doesn't sign. He just learnt to lip read. And he said that when he got to like 14, 15, and he could have gone one way, as in he could have gone out with his mates, and he could have just been out on nightlife and all that kind of stuff. He just went, nah, I'm going to fight this. And he knew that verse, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And he just said, I'm going to be the best. And I'm not just going to stop at being like a drummer for the gospel choir. I'm going to play for mainstream artists. So he's played for Shaka Khan, Whitney Houston, Usher. He's just played for Little Sims, who's another massive artist coming through at the moment. And people call on him to find other drummers, but they call on him for a drummer because he's so... He feels the beat. He can feel it. So he can hear and he can hear whoa, whoa. And there he plays. And he plays and he feels the beat in between. It's nuts. Because it was amazing to see him, and what a testimony. I mean, from what God can use you in your weakness. In weakness, yeah, absolutely. Wow, great. Hey, thanks for being here with us.